Well, hello. I think I'm doing a live streaming here. And as you've seen in the title, I'm starting a new approach. I want to try to do some live recording and try to build some projects in a short time. Today I got an idea. A few days ago, I just saw a game that it's called um, Lucky Towers, I think it's called. Let me say it's Lucky Towers. As you can see here, it's a game where basically you are a character and you need to choose different doors and everything, and it's a roguelite that it just users get kind of addicted to it. So what I want to do is create my own version of the game. I want it to be web-based, and that basically it's a company. I just got the idea this afternoon going back home, and after a just quick chat with the AI, I got a really rough idea of how I want the game. So basically, I see it like this. So I here I created the idea markdown file that says escape the company. It's a dark comedy roguelite set inside an impossibly vast corporate scrapper that has become a living organism. You just play as a junior analyst who arrives for the first day of work only to discover that the building has consumed reality itself. Every door leads to a different department, and each of the departments is twisted into its own ecosystem. For example, marketing is a neon cult obsessed with engagement, finance is a labyrinth of grid-fueled balls, HR rewrites memories to enforce compliance, and legal bends the laws of physics through endless contracts. Behind every door, there could be loot, allies, shortcuts, secrets, or a spectacularly absurd death. And the deeper you descend, the more you uncover the truth behind the company, its mysterious CEO, and why nobody has ever successfully resigned. The gameplay needs to combine fast exploration. At the end, all this has been written by AI after our chat, so this is the summary of our conversation we've had on the car. But basically, the gameplay combines fast exploration, light action, combat, risk reward decisions, and procedural discovery. This is a good part. It needs to be procedural, so this way, just every game is different. So this way, so players collect bizarre corporate gear such as stapler cannons, prototype AI assistants, laser pointers of authority, and forbidden expense cards while fighting hostile managers, security drones, spreadsheet errors, and KPI-powered executives. So the runs are filled with unexpected encounters, dark humor, and emergent stories, where a coffee break could save your life and a promotion could be worse than death. Visually, the game starts in a recognizable office environment, but gradually it transforms into a surreal corporate nightmare, creating a world that feels similar enough to be relatable, yet strange enough to constantly surprise the players and encourage them to come back just for one more run. And here I just added we did a small roadmap of how the game could be. So in the phase one, the validation of the core loops, just it says week one. I think could be just day one. Don't start by building the full game. Just start by proving that the open door encounter survive die continue is fun. Use AI, Copilot, Cloud Code, Cursor, or GPT to generate a phaser plus TypeScript project, basic player movement, procedural room transition, and placeholder enemies. Everything can be ugly, gray boxes, and the goal is to have a playable prototype where a character can move through rooms and experience random outcomes. So with that, we have this idea. Now let's try to start building something. I just created an empty project. It says escape the company here on the top. It just has this idea MD file. So we'll start by using the 5-6 sol in the medium reasoning to see how it goes. Maybe just start with high in the first approach. And let's say that create, I want to create a web-based responsive web game that is a roguelite similar to Lucky Towers but with a twist on its style. I will add this file here. Here you have find attach the idea of the game, help me creating the skeleton project that uses the latest version of Phaser plus TypeScript with a basic player movement in a scene. Initially it must have a menu to start with an option to start the game, and whenever the start game button is pressed, the character must appear. Initially can be a square character and be able to move horizontally and jump. It must, just with this, let's see how it goes. So while it starts doing all this, I'm gonna be creating or explaining the next things that I was gonna do here. So it's reading everything, it's also confirming how it goes, but basically here was what we said, that we wanted to start by building this first part and everything. Then the Phaser project structure would be to build this player controller, to create the room door system, to create the procedural room generator, and generate the placeholder art and sound effects. Then once we have this working, so a new player that can move across rooms and everything, then the phase 2 is to build a corporate wall. So it says that it would take about 2 to 3 weeks to build this game, or this phase, better said. That once the movement loop works, it should be time to focus on content, and this is where AI can provide the biggest speed boost. So instead of spending days brainstorming, generating dozens of departments, enemies, events, items, and death scenarios, you just can use AI to give it some prompts like generate 100 absurd corporate enemies, or 50 room events for a corporate roguelite, or 20 department themes for unique mechanics. And with this, it can create data-driven JSON files, so AI can produce content directly consumable by the game. So for example, department, that could be those 5 departments here. These more lines, it's from the generated code before. Then when we already have these resources and this data, the next step would be to add this kind of combat and progression. So add enough RPG mechanics to make each run meaningful, and it would be to implement the basic melee ranged combat, or loot drops, or acquired equipment, permanent unlocks, boss rooms, and just use AI to generate the descriptions, the stats, the abilities, the suggestions, and even the sprites of that. But the sprites is not yet at this point, just work on the stats here, and the phase 4 is to work on the visual identity. So here basically it's time to make the game look unique. The visual progression should be to start from a normal office, then go to a strange office, move to a living corporation, and move to a corporate nightmare that finishes through a CEO dimension. And here is where we can use AI to generate the image to rapidly explore both the enemies, the UI, the department themes, the marketing art. So instead of asking for final assets immediately, here is where I can say, okay, yeah, I don't have Node.js because I just created this new session in this laptop, so it's time for it to create install the things in my WSL. Basically, don't ask AI for the final asset, just generate the concept and select the cohesive style first, and then do a play testing. That it says that around week 6, we should be able to do some playtesting. Here I expect to be day 6 instead of week 6. And by here, just asked some people about which rooms they remember, which enemies they hate, where did they stop playing, which moments did make them laugh, and with that, we can still use AI to analyze this feedback and propose some changes. And here is the golden rule that it suggests. I kind of agree. So we can use it AI as a team, not only as a code generator. So like using several AIs to program, design, write, do some tests, and also to be artists. So here in this scenario, it takes me as a decision maker, and just the AI job generates, accelerates, and refactors tests and brainstorms things. And here is what it says, that if you keep the MVP focused on a single floor progression mechanic, you could realistically have a playable vertical slice in 2-3 weeks and a polished MVP in 6-10 weeks of part-time work. So it's still installing all this stuff. I don't think I should be using all these ways to install it. I would rather use some npm or some tools to keep the node installations, but yeah, let's see how much it takes. And yeah, well, it does this is here is the image that I generated as a thumbnail for this first live streaming. Basically, this is a bit the goal I have in mind. So you have several floors, you just go through them through an elevator, just through some stairs. Then you have a goal that is to find a way to resign or escape the building. Then it says in which floor you are. I'm not sure I completely like this image that it generates here, or the style itself, but yeah, this is just an image for the thumbnail. But just you have some inventories, you just have some stats or states, and with this you need to end or to finish your run. Here there's some kind of map, so yeah, a bit this is the idea I have in mind. Just it has created everything here. It says that if I just run npm install and npm run dev, I should be able to play this. So as you can see, I just created the Escape the Company game right before starting the streaming. Here I can verify that everything has been created, so I just run npm install. It says that there's not npm, there's no node either. It can be that it just didn't start it didn't update the source. I didn't source the bashrc, so let's see just projects, escape the company. No, there's no node. Not node, I think it's Node.js. No, come on, guy. Just let's say, how can I install Node.js and npm to my DSL? Yeah, register package alternative, not this. The recommended approach through npm, yeah. So if the update, yeah, I guess I have Kotlin installed, but just in case, as I said, I just installed it a few minutes ago, the whole WSL and everything in this session. So npm, I like it. It's version manager for Node, so I can have several installations. Here basically it says that it's doing all that. So let's see this. Perfect. Let's install the latest version of Node. And with this, then I will be able to install, use as default the LTS, use the default. So here it has installed, and also the npm. So here I have the npm install for the thing it has added, and npm run dev. So here I have the thing. So let's see what it has done. Skip the company, your first day, your final notice, your only way out. Yeah, for sure it just does not look fine. It looks kind of blurry, but just plug in. I have something with ADS, can move, also with the arrows. So I don't know exactly what the thing is here, but I have something that has some, how do you say, the collisions, and yeah, AD or arrows to jump, white space, and S to go to the menu. So have you seen that? It's been just around 15 minutes, actually less than 15 minutes. It's been around 10 since I explained everything and installed the things. And we have already the phase one almost done. Let's review what the thing has actually done. Before doing that, let's just check that there's not a Git repository. I didn't need any repository before, so I'll just add the idea MD as a initial game idea. Then basically you can configure the things. Let me so basically I cleared everything. I have the first initial game idea, git add commit the initial playable, how is the framework called here now, phaser game v0. So here we can see the things that it has created. It's easy this time because there was nothing. So let's see in depth what it has done. So actually, let me verify. It has added the node modules here, or there is a git ignore. Cool. Basically, it has created this git ignore. Let's see the index.html file where there's this HTML thing where it says the game, the viewport, the description, just some title, and here we see a main section with an ID and the script that is the main TS. So with this, let's see the main TS, what it has. It's using phaser. I guess that in the package JSON, we just have phaser as a dependency plus TypeScript and byte as step dependencies. So phaser, we create a new phaser game with the game config. Let's see with this game config what it actually has. So it says that it's a type phaser auto. The parent is the game container. Some width and height, which is the background color, which scenes that exist, menu and game. The physics about some things like gravity, which scale it has, like this fit part. I think this one I don't like it that much, and some things to render, such as pixel art or anti-alias. So with here we have two scenes. Let's go back to the main TS. This is what the game has done. It has declared the Escape the Company game, and it's assigning the game created here object. So we have the two scenes, the menu scene extends the phaser scene. Despite knowing phaser from before, I didn't create nothing before, so it's kind of new, but we can see a bit what it's doing. So it just adds the different thing, it draw a backdrop that is a rectangle with some grid on it, some lines, then also some buttons. It's drawing the different pieces. It says in at which size it should have, which text it should have, and everything. And basically draws everything, adds the text, creates a start button, and in the start button there should be some event at some point. Yeah, button on pointer down, it starts a new scene that is a game scene. And in the game scene, we can see that there's some move speed, some jump speed, some objects for the player's management, and the cameras that you can play, and yeah, some objects that exist here. So the geometry just creates the different parts, creates the player, creates a control, that left, right, jump with the different code like the A, D, and W. I guess that the cursor keys it's meant to use just for the, yes, it says the arrows here. So yeah, it's been cool just in 10 minutes to have all this. I don't know if I committed this. I hope I did. Yeah, I still didn't create it in the remote, but I'll just create this game a repository here in GitHub. I just created my profile 3 days ago here, so let's create one repository. I'll be creating a new repo. It's called, how did you say, escape the company phaser web game drop light about escaping a tower of a company. The visibility, it will be private, not readmes, not get ignores, no license, just create a repo. And since we already have an existing repository, just we'll add the origin to it. Then instead of main, I'm gonna be using master because here we were on master and I'm still used master. And git push origin master. So okay, no, not this, because I was using HTTP. I wanted to use SSH since I have already git remote set URL. Let's see how it is. Git remote set URL origin. Origin was the word here I was missing. I need to say to which remote I wanted to change, so yes, all good. So if we go back here, we refresh, and we see that we have the thing. So that's cool. Let's continue with that. Now we go back to the idea. Let's see what we had for this first phase. So we have the things. I want to add the concept of doors. So I want you to add the door concept. In the map, there should be doors, and whenever the player enters a door, it should be how do we call it, like translated, not translated, but it should be transported to a room, to another room. Also, the user can exit a door that just entered to go back to the previous room it was. Just with that, let's see how it goes. So with this, we would be able to have this open door feature. Still, there would be missing parts, such as adding doors that have keys and everything, but at least we'll have something. Here, I'm thinking that maybe we should be like adding a dogs directory. This idea should be moved to here. Here would be to a kind of an initial idea and future ideas. So just to don't forget things, and some doors can only be opened with some keys, items. So it means having to have some items inventory first. Then also the encounters, so we should be adding enemies first. Add enemies that wander through rooms, and add some kind of battle with, and if touched, the player loses with a game over screen. I think this could be something initially, then we can work on top of that. Then also the survive, die thing, and the continue. So yeah, the procedural room transitions and placeholder enemies, then we can add this here that add process. Make sure that when a new game is created, the rooms and floors are procedurally generated. Add floors with different rooms in each. In some rooms, there can be stairs. I'm not sure exactly how to put that. I mean, which logic should users follow to go up and down? So, well, it has done some things here. So let's first try to run the application. We can come here, refresh, clock in, and there's some doors. So just by touching it, it goes from one room to the other. Cool. And from finance, there's a third room that has everything. Okay, I don't like the rooms, but that's good. Basically, add rooms here. The game should be about a tower, so there should be floors. The player should have some way to go up, down, among floors, and player should have some way to go up, down, among floors, but there should be restriction. Should not be able to move across all floors from the beginning. As I think that here maybe we need to first have a more detailed thought about what the game is gonna be about. So I'm gonna be doing a step back and go back to the design part here. So basically, I'm gonna be here creating a new chat. And yeah, here, let's say I had an idea about about building a web-based game. The original idea is based on the let me see the thing here. Lucky Tower game. A roguelite. In my case, I don't want it to look like a copy of the game, just take it as inspiration. Here, the main idea I had about it. What do you think? And just with this, we paste the initial ideas with this first thing. Let's see what it says. Basically, this is a strong marketable premise. The title communicates a fantasy immediately. The corporate satire gives you an enormous supply of enemies and items, and shifting the environment naturally support procedural generation. It is a company where corporate systems literally control reality. Okay, good. Everything good. The main thing it still needs. During a run, a player could accumulate salary, stress, reputation, corporate debt, compliance, suspicion, and seniority. The promotions could grant major powers but make escape harder. For example, promotion unlocks better equipment and executive doors. It also increases your obligations, inserts meetings into the run, and makes resignation more dangerous. Becoming too compliant causes the company to begin rewriting your character. Remaining junior keeps you weak but less visible. Getting fired might be a valid escape route, but only if you can survive the termination process. This creates an excellent central tension. Did you climb the corporate ladder to become strong enough? A run could begin in the lobby with a basic job title, a random manager, and a corporate objective. The player moves through departments, making choices about routes, allies, contracts, and promotions. Each department should ideally change the rules rather than only changing the scenery. Marketing rewards attention, enemies become stronger when visible, while ignored objects may contain hidden rewards. Finance allows the player to borrow power against future health, room, or rewards. HR changes character traits, deletes memories from the run, and forces the player to choose which upgrades to forget. Legal introduces contracts with literal clauses. A weapon may do enormous damage, but only on weekdays or against enemies whose names contain a particular letter. IT contains broken simulation spaces, duplicated rooms, corrupted enemies, and debugging tools, sales, executive floors. And the objective should probably not always be go downward and kill the boss. Different resignation methods could provide variety, like valid resignation, fire, expose the company, some other options. Making counters more important than combat, the concept feels best suited to a game where combat is quick and satisfying, but strange decisions and consequences are the real star. A coworker asks you to cover their shift, accepting adds 3 dangerous rooms, but they may save you later. Okay, Tome to protect, the game should avoid becoming only a collection of office memes. Jokes about spreadsheets and meetings are approachable, but they can become repetitive. Okay. So this is evocative, but the central gameplay could be different. Escape the Company is a dark comedy roguelite set inside an infinite corporate skyscraper that has consumed reality. Explore procedurally generated apartments, weaponize absurd office equipment, and climb the corporate ladder to gain enough power to resign. While every promotion makes the company more capable of owning you, behind each door lies a new rule: opportunity, co-worker contract, or humiliating death. Get promoted, get fired, expose the CEO, or discover another loophole in a workplace where leaving the building may be the hardest job of all. Great. I already have phaser project with a character that can be moved across scenes, and in the scenes there can be doors that transport the player to different rooms. Just in a simple way with dummy graphics using shapes. What would you do next to continue building this? Let's see exactly. I'm doubtful about which path to follow or which part to tackle now. Doubtful about. Okay, I would turn that into a small playable vertical slice before adding more content. One run, a few room types, one enemy, one item, and one meaningful decision. Okay, it has searching. I would stop expanding the number of scenes temporarily and build one complete replayable run with dummy graphics. The next goal is not more rooms, it's proving that moving through those rooms creates interesting decisions. So build a tiny vertical slice, combat room, choice between two doors. The first playable loop should support start a new run, enter rooms through doors, fight or complete an encounter, receive an upgrade, make at least one food decision, defeat a boss or die, and restart immediately. If every possible room becomes its own phaser scene, procedural generation and persistent room state may become awkward. I would use a small number of technical scenes: food scene, menu scene, gameplay scene, and UA scene. Gameplay scene. Okay, it says about not using it's not using a room, just creating a door definition, room definition with this. Perfect. Yeah, it's more or less what it did. Give me all that into a markdown code snippet to send to my AI agent. So let's see what it does. Basically, it's adding some combat that it didn't have. Oh hey, I see there's someone else here. Are you some kind of developer too? Are you some kind of AI geek here working in several projects on that? Basically, here we are building a game that it's kind of, I don't know if you've heard about Lucky Tower, where you need to jump, you appear into a tower, and then you need to navigate through different floors, killing some enemies and joining with some allies. Then just you need to choose among doors, and behind each door there's different events. So we are trying to build a similar roguelite, but with a different, let's say, theme. Here we started creating it with phaser. We started just half an hour ago, a bit more maybe, where it just has a player that you can move. For the moment, it's just no graphics, just some squares that have rooms. And across the rooms, you can navigate to other rooms, and all this data it's ready to be programmatically done so that it can be procedurally generated later. So here we've seen that which rooms exist, like we are in the onboarding, the first one you appear. From here you can navigate to the finance or HR, in which position it is, how it's placed, and the different things that you can put into the each of the rooms. And now the next thing we have, or we are working on, it's on trying to make it better and try to shift a bit, because the idea was not fully as I liked. Here we can see that there was no, I didn't have clear enough how to proceed, which was the goal. Why did the user want to go up or down in this game? So now we are working into shifting a bit this, and let's see what AI can do in one run. In the original idea, there was this planning that AI did, that it said about 6 weeks, more or less, to be doing it. My goal is to have it in 1 week. So instead of 6 weeks, do it in 6 days. And today we've already almost tackled the week one, and my goal is to have something that has doors, enemies, and that you can die somehow in the game. So this is what I'm gonna be doing. It's been some time already, like 42 minutes. Let's see if it finishes, or if I can finish this during the next 15 to 20 minutes and close it after the hour. So here my description is going too deep, but yeah, here it's already working about this part. It's trying to put all this information into a single markdown snippet, because I want just to copy and paste it into the codex agent. Let's ensure I don't have anything here. I think I don't actually have it. I can remove these future ideas. Just let's keep it, but without any change. And let's see if this thing behind it goes really slow. Let me see if I refresh the page by any chance. It goes faster. If it's just the streaming that it was, the streaming of the message, what it was breaking it, but now I see it is still generating it. It goes complete room. So let's see which part it is this, the complete room. Items, ignition, promotion. A complete room here. But this complete room, I don't know what it was defined. Well, let's see a bit what it's doing. The room life cycle: entering, active, clear, reward, exit available. Have this kind of room controller. Also, here the acceptance criteria, where a player enters the room, the doors lock, the enemies appear, player cannot leave during combat, all enemies can be defeated, a reward appears after the final enemy dies, the reward can be collected, the doors unlock, and player can leave. Revisiting the room does not respond to encounter, and revisiting the room shows the door already unlocked. Okay, it's taking a while this to be generated. It should not be that long, I guess, but at the end here it's the time it takes when you build with AI. It's some time to think there's some enemy types. A security drone. Yeah, this thing I guess it's gonna be taking some time because there's the enemy state have different state machine where different states exist. Also manager boss. Okay, it's creating the whole thing. I mean, I didn't want that much. Let's see what it's been doing. Let's read all this because otherwise we wouldn't know what the game is about. So it's creating Escape the Company, a phaser prototype implementation brief, a phaser game web game project. It has all these. The game is a dark comedy corporate roguelite called that. Task is to evolve the existing prototype into a small but complete roguelite. So yeah, it's trying to do a one shot here. Do not focus on polished graphics yet. Continue using simple rectangle, circle, and modern shapes, I guess. The primary objective is a playable prototype where the player can start a new run, explore connected rooms, enter a combat room, fight enemies, clear the room, receive rewards, choose between different routes, accept or reject the promotion, fight the manager boss, win or die, and immediately start another run. The prototype should prioritize solid architecture, fast iteration, and replayability, I guess. So here there should be 8-10 rooms per run, one department theme, two normal enemy types, one manager boss, two weapons, four passive items, two promotions, three event room outcomes, one branching route, one rest room, one treasure room, one escape or victory room, and the run should last approximately 8 to 12 minutes. I think that it should take less, but well, do not build large amount of content before the core gameplay loop works. So the architecture, have those four scenes, the model, how to do it, the run state, how to keep the state, how the life cycle would be, the different player combats, the state, the enemy types, how to generate the procedural room, the seeded randomness. Okay, every run must use a seed, so not just completely random, because this way we can regenerate things. The items, there should be categories, rarities, and here's some example. The rewards, there should be some rewards. Come on, it's taking some time. Let's see if in the meantime there's a playable version of the, how did we call the game? It was a Lucky Tower Online free. I don't know if it exists. Yeah, I hope it does. So let me move this here on the other screen so I can track when it finishes. And in the meantime, let's see how this game I expect it to be. So I don't know if yeah, there's this game. Oh, it was too noisy. So play, move, jump, and duck. S to hit things, enter room, respawn, and continue. So we skip, we have this, we have this. just enter one room. There's, I don't think this is the official game though, because I don't see it. I have to click every time. I think this is the game. Come on, here usually there should be enemies. I mean, until now we've just been playing a game that, nah, this is not the game I was saying. So this is not. Also, I have the other part finished. So let's move back here. You saw the style a bit, but not the full idea. So here, docs first prompt. Let's just create a new chat that takes this and based on the implement accordingly implement what is written in the attached file. So like that. Now it's time to read, inspect everything, and run implement things. So what I'm going to be doing is add to, don't ask for approval. Actually, I should say full access, but I will say don't ask again when it appears. I'll move that, and it says something. It said, please populate or reattach the file. It's empty. Oh, it's empty. Why it's empty? Because I didn't paste this. Now it is fulfilled. Okay, so it's doing this. Let's see if we can find a Lucky Tower online free. Easy games. Come on, there's no game. Mini play. It's reading the brief. It's broader than the current movement only prototype and completely prioritize a persistent combat ROM milestone. So it's reading all this. I don't know why, but I think it's gonna be the same exact game that we played, but yeah, no, for some reason, yeah, there's blood. So at least it's speaking for that reason. Sometimes it does not leave me to walk. Okay, so here we saw. We can try again. Here there are some randomness events. It's still working. Let's see if we can make something out of it. Yeah, I'm gonna be trying to enter this room. But nah, there's not too much things. This is not a game I would like to play, so. Okay, so it's trying to keep the current to scene setup, route every door through a persistent run manager, modern room completion outside phaser, objects and isolating counter lifecycle and combat behavior into focus controllers. I'm applying the structure now, the existing movement platforms and placeholder, visual style stay intact. So here we've seen one of the things that I've learned while using AI. At the end, it's how detailed you should put things. Here we have a 1500 lines description about what it should appear, what should not, how it's about the persistence of the combat room vertical, what about the definition of dawn, what about the state, like everything really detailed. Actually, here what I should have done is to read all that across and thoroughly and ensure that I agree with everything. Because at the end, I don't know, imagine that it says that for the placeholder, it says that the item should be a yellow circle, and I don't like that, and I would instead use a red square for some reason. Then I should be doing all this. But yeah, for the sake of this time, and I wanted to take around 1 hour, it's been already been 56 minutes. I'm gonna be just trusting everything. Here it says which is the format. I should be able to choose how this it is. Maybe I would rather use a third parameter or something. I don't know. The good thing is that it's also asking for testing and not any kind of testing, but not just visual, that I guess maybe it will be testing too, but more on the seeded RNG consistency. I like this because if you have some way to reproduce things and also have some RNG, it allows you to debug better in the future. Also about the graph connectivity to ensure there's no dead ends and this stuff. Also that there's always a boss reachability or an exit reachability, that the state of the room is persisted across the run. Also about applying the modification where you have an item. Then about the different benefits and obligation of promotions, the stress threshold, all that stuff. It's splitting it into 6 milestones. First, define rooms, the run state, room manager, the abstraction, knowing if you have visited or cleared a room, be able to backtrack the run, also ensure that you can properly spawn the player at the right positions after transitions. Then work on the combat rooms where there's the doors are locked, there's spawning enemies, players can attack, there's health for the enemy and the player, there's death. Also the concept of room completion that we mentioned above, the reward spawn, being able to unlock doors and persist the state when you clear a room. Yeah, I guess this is the most important milestone at the end. Then the basic run generation, that ensuring that everything is properly generated at the beginning and that it can be placed everything right. Then add the rewards. Then the identity, like the concept and everything. Finally pause and run. And the debugging and cleanup. Okay, so the persistent loop is in place. Finance is now the combat room. Both of its doors are governed by the room life cycle, and reward inventory state lives in the run rather than the scene. I'm type checking now and will resolve phaser API type mismatches before doing a production build. The code changes are complete, but this shell currently has no npm executable, so the project's normal type check command cannot start. I'll still validate the code locally by checking available runtimes, tooling, and performing a focused static review. If Node.js is installed elsewhere in the environment, I'll use that installation. The fallback runtime path works, and the strict TypeScript now passes with no errors. I'm running the pipe production build next, and I will update the project instructions. I guess the project instructions is what appears in the README. Yeah, but it has added 1089 lines across 8 files. So no, I don't want this div. We can run a git status here. to see which 8 files. So it's modifying the good rooms and the two scenes, also adding the data, run, systems, types, all that. Perfect. All the strict checks have passed. Now one smoke check and reviewing the diff for accidental scope creep. The only build warning is Phaser expected large bundle size and is not a functional failure. So yeah, let's see how it goes. It should be now close to be finished. Finance, the F fires the stapler cannon. Here there's some instructions. Everything is right according to here, so the package is not updated. I don't have to install anything. I just have to run npm run dev. And with this, I refresh the page, I clock in, and I have two things. The F launches. I can go to the finance. Select your compensation. So when I kill everyone in a room, I have to choose one benefit. Company laptop, I have a 25% faster stapler cannon fire rate, or emergency coffee restores 25 health and move 15 faster. So I could go with a company laptop. Then I can either go back to the here, finance, human resources, shortcut. It's not that much of a shortcut, but I think it just does not have a proper loop. Well, but for some reason, okay, procedural generation and later milestones were intentionally left out. So here it's the persistent combat room. Perfect. Now let me add this. Run manager with combat group. Now continue with the implementation to have close graphs that allow me to finish. Okay. Here basically we verify that it does not respawn enemies. Now indefinite seeded run and entrance mandatory combat, a real branch that reconnects, recovery, manager boss, and a terminal exit victory screen. Treating close graph as every overroute remains valid. All branches converge and the run has a reachable ending rather than the cycling forever. I don't like that. At the end I say that it should not be like this. Let's see how much time it took. It took 8 minutes to work on 1,000 lines. Yeah, I don't think there's any possibility that the human does that. So the current triangle is finite in data, but not finishable because room IDs are hard-coded. There's no terminal room and no graph validation. I'll replace only that fixed room table with a seeded 8-room graph whose two routes reconnect before rest, boss, exit, while preserving backtracking. Okay, because here it didn't create here's the type combat, finance. Okay, so just about creating a better room structure. But I don't like that matches the styles of the game. It doesn't look good for me. Okay, it's applying changes. I guess it's working on the rooms part mainly. Yeah, the rooms plus the manager and types plus some utils. Okay, let's see what it does here. There's different rooms. There's more. Also adding some randomness. So yeah, I think that with it being 1 hour and 10 minutes of live, and I'll end up having a not so ugly game. I mean, not yeah, ugly it will be for sure, but a playable game. I mean, I could play this game for some time, I guess. Let's see if I can finish this generation. So then the next thing that I could do tomorrow is to work on the visuals of the game instead of having that. Adding some kind of visuals, I think already would improve. Also, what I don't like is how it looks in terms of how do you say it, in terms of responsiveness. It's creating a too big screen, so you know it looks wrong. Oh, I didn't see in the top. There's the floor 404. I'm on the onboarding. I'm on the human resources. So here in the top it says where we are, which is my health, and if there's an entrance, if I'm safe, if I'm in a combat room, which kind of room I'm at. And on the top right corner it says what I have. So here, instead of that, I could add some kind of inventory visual. So come on, it's been already been 5 minutes. It's thinking too much. I don't know if I should replace this high for a medium, maybe to make it faster, because I think it's taking that much because of the thought I put. Well, I've been checking. I still have 98% of the weekly. I just actually took it today. So everything that we've seen in this live session is the one that I've spent. Let's see it running versioning. I think it's running already some tests to it to verify that everything keeps working. Yeah, those 6 minutes, their validation is clean, everything has been done. The 250 distinct seeds generated identical repeated graphs. So good, I guess. I'm not sure what it mentioned about the 250 seats, but I mean, if it means that everything it says the same graph. In this case, I wouldn't like that, but okay, I clock in and I'm at a room on the onboarding. There's only one begin exit process. I can choose this. On the top right corner, I have stapler canon, no perks. Then I choose the emergency coffee so that I don't have anything. I just go from the onboarding to the career routing. This is a safe part. I can go either to the internal audit or to compliance. I went to compliance. There's some supervisors, and I choose to have a company laptop again, an emergency coffee. Maybe I choose this one to see if I can take two. Yeah, I have two things here. So I go back here. There's the internal audit and more coffee. I have two laptops. I go to the coffee break. Executive review. There's this regional manager. Okay, I terminated because the regional performance manager, I cleared 3 rooms and I defeated 7. So I can begin a new employment. And it has changed because before I had to choose, I guess. I take the coffee to restore everything. Emergency coffee added to inventory. I go to internal audit. And a company laptop. I go to the coffee break. More coffee. Coffee break. And the executive review. Perfect. I defeated. So I go to escape elevator and I won. I can retry the same seat or I can run a new random one. So yeah, I don't like this visually, but I have a game that can be played already. So I think that it will be all for today. Tomorrow I'll try to do more and let's see how far we can get in 1 week. During the live part, it's only been one guy here who didn't say anything in the chat. But if you see this after, I mean, not the guy, but anyone sees this part and wants to get in touch, put a comment and I'll be grateful about that. So see ya the next day, hopefully tomorrow with more